welcome to a brand new episode of Honorable Mentions, Season 2. We had the first season was one episode long. You may find that maybe on our YouTube page. Then I decided what I really wanted to do was host a show called Joy of Posting. Joy of Posting, I've been posting for about a year and a half, and now I've decided to go back to the original vision because I feel a little bit more excited to do it. So if you're in the chat, say hello. If you are not in the chat, say hello to whoever you are near or by, or saying goodbye to. Say hello to them as you say goodbye. Mix it up. They don't know whether you're coming or going. You're a wild card. You don't know what's up or down. Keep them guessing. That's the spice of life, as I always say. Hello, Abolish. Hello, Insult. And welcome to Season 2 of Honorable Mentions, the show where I talk about culture, the internet, all through my particularly fucked up lens. Hello, Abolish. Definitely, if you have cats, if you have dogs, if you have marmots, hello, Dark Mammon. Hello, all of you. If you have animals that you want to watch the show with, please bring them up so that their little dark eyes can see the screen. I don't know what kind of sensory information they're getting from a screen. I don't know even if they pay attention to screens. But if they do, then definitely put this in front of their animal eyes. Hello, everyone. I want to give a quick shout out to Matt, who has created a new opening for the show, so that just an exciting way to open a show, because it's not a show if you don't have an opening. That's what they say in Hollywood. So thank you for Matt for making this a show by giving us an opening. Hello, Brony Care Bear. Hello, everyone. And hello, Pfeiffer. I hope you're well. I hope your strike is doing well. Last time we talked, you were on strike. So I hope either you have gotten your demands met, or I hope you are still enjoying the time off. I'm being a little bad. It's bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being bad. I won't lie and say that that's surprising because of the reality we live in, because of the horrible, awful world we happen to inhabit, because that's how it happened to go down. That said, I'm very glad you're with us. I'm very glad that I am assuming you're at least bodily safe. I am assuming you're at least safe and not sort of in some sort of immediate danger. And that's what I'm grateful for tonight. Latest offer is a scam, healthcare or 4K deductible. That sounds bad. Everyone, find out where Pfeiffer works and just, harass the people in charge until they offer a better deal. I've struck a bad deal with myself. I'm having Red Bull tonight. I should not have Red Bull at 9 at night. I don't know when I will wake up or go to bed tonight. It's all up in the air. I actually bought Red Bull because I thought, Red Bull, I could buy that tonight and it could be a nice morning treat, like coffee, but a Red Bull. But then I got a little bit ahead of myself and just started drinking it tonight. So I have nothing for the morning, but also who knows when I will wake up after how late I will go to bed. Everyone yell at Governor Tom Wolf. Mr. Wolf, this is Rachel, host of Honorable Mentions. Stop being a douche. Everyone, that's our script. I believe activists, volunteers are often given a script when talking to leaders, so that they stick to script, so they don't go off script. Your script is calling Governor Tom Wolf a douchebag. Grab the bull by the horns, booze party, and cheers. And Pfeiffer's very drunk and living off their prior jobs, retirement plans, so they'll be okay. Pfeiffer is okay. You know who's not okay? Many of the people and characters that I've been watching this week. As part of the new show Ramped Up, I'm creating little segments for myself. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I did not give them to Matt in time. I did not give them to Matt at all. So it's no surprise that there aren't fun segment bumpers. There's no surprise that these are on a Google Doc in my Google Drive, where the headings are just simply bolded and made in size 15. That's all on me. I think it's charming. I think it's charming for now. I will get those to Matt in time. We will hopefully be seeing some fun bumpers. It's very on brand. Ansalt is very sweet. You're very sweet to say this is on brand. That it's very homemade. I like the fact that I'm no Hassan. I do not have like a cool swanky gamer chair. I don't have like the blue light on me. I am not well lit. I'm not even well filmed. I have often thought I should get a more expensive camera, and I'm working off the speakers inside of the computer. I am not even talking into a microphone. So very homemade sort of DIY sort of operation we've got going on here. When will I upgrade? Only God knows, and perhaps Jesus Christ, to whom God, I assume, gossips. But no one but them knows, only God and his only chosen son, Jesus. I am Jewish, but I think Jesus jokes are fun. That's sort of where I've come down to. It's fun to talk about Jesus. I think it's a fun time. Cameras aren't being scalped anymore. That's true. I'm gonna drink some water. Those who've watched the show for a while know that I always remember to make myself a glass of water about 3 minutes before the start of the show. I always fill it up to here. Just sort of an inch tall. Even though the show is 90 minutes, I'm continually talking. I need more water than that, but I'm always filling my water glass up, distracted about the show. So I never give myself enough water, and you always get to see that on the show. That's a fun thing. Some say Jesus was the king of the Jews, so I think that's allowed. I've been rereading the Terra Ignota series by Ada Palmer because the fourth and last book just came out. It's very good. Excellent. Terra Ignota. That's fun. I will put that. I will do a new segment called Stuff on Rachel's to check out list. We're going to do that right here. We're going to add a new segment. This is the advantage of not giving Matt your segments to create fun bumpers out of, is that you get to create new segments on the fly. So if you have something for me to check out, I will do my best to check it out. I promise I will get back to you whenever I have watched it or read it on the show. You can give me recs, and I will do my best to, in all earnestness, check them out. The Hainish Cycle, when you read most of that. I have read, I think, of the Ursula books. I'm just going to call them the Ursula books. I've read Left Hand, I've read City of Illusions, and I've read the third book. I actually forget what it's called, but it's about a guy. He goes to a planet that's like medieval, so it's kind of like sci-fi, and it's kind of like fantasy. As I'm talking, I feel like I'm describing all of her books, but you have to trust me that there's one book in particular that I am referencing. Ricannon's World, yes, the weird cover art. If you go to audible.com, if you bring up the app and you look up Ricannon's World, you will see. I can show it to you right now. I have the power to do that. I just remembered that I have all the internet before me. I can bring up Ricannon's World right now. This is, if you've never seen audiobook covers that go too hard, I would say that this is an audiobook cover that goes incredibly hard. Here it is. You got the dinosaur. I will be honest. I want to blow it up. I'll be honest. I read this fucking book. I don't remember there being a dragon in the book. I don't remember there being a dragon in the book. And I read the book. So if there was a dragon, it was like a minor character. It was like, oh, we're going to like, it was mentioned in passing. And I feel like that is not enough for it to be front and center of Ricannon's World. I feel like they just were like, can you just make a fantasy cover? And they gave them no details whatsoever. Oh, the flying creatures they fly on. I'll be honest. I do not remember the book well. It is not, for me, it did not end up being a highly memorable book. Maybe that's because it's just a book that doesn't audiobook well, or maybe I was just not paying attention. But I do not remember most of it. So that's something I read. But putting that stuff on my to-do list, I know that who just said, I think it was Abolish, I should check out To Like the Lightning. That is a Terra Ignota series. I do like fantasy. There we go. We're going to put that in. This seems like a great time to bring up the new segment, which I call What I've Not Finished. We're going to blow that up real big on the screen so it feels like a bumper, even though, again, can't emphasize enough, only a Google Doc inside my Google Drive. I know it's beautiful, right? I love this kind of like it make words go big. It's very fun. I think that's always been the most fun I've ever had in my life, when I've just made things look bigger or smaller in a Word doc. What I've not finished this week, I should say, there's many things I've never finished. An unalterably huge number of things I haven't finished this week. Things I haven't finished this week. I haven't finished the movie Solaris. I've only finished 1/3. I've only finished 1/3 of Solaris. It's on the Criterion. It's on Criterion streaming. Monday morning, I woke up. I will explain in some why I only watched 1/3. One thing you have to know about Solaris is that it is a very long movie. It's a very long movie. It is from, I believe, the 70s. I'm going to check to make sure I'm not fucking that up. It's from 1972, and it's a not a French film. It's a Russian film. I wouldn't want to fuck that up. They would cancel, the Russians would cancel me. You don't want to be canceled by the Russians. It means something different. So this is considered a classic of science fiction cinema. Solaris, not Ad Astra. It is from 1972. There is, I believe, a 2002. Is it 2002? Yes, there is 2002. I don't know why I remember the year that the second Solaris came out. There is a remake by Soderbergh, which I saw in theaters. I thought it was good. People mostly said not as good as the original, which I had not seen at the time, so I couldn't say that. This is a movie about a guy who goes to a satellite around a planet called Solaris. Clooney Remacle. This is about a guy, I believe his name is Kelvin. Kelvin is an accountant, but also a scientist, and he is, and also possibly a psychologist. He seems to have, in the first third of the film that I watched, a few different disciplines. He goes to the satellite that's going around like this, the scientific outpost that is circling the foreign planet of Solaris, which they have deduced or surmised may be an intelligent planet. So he's a psychiatrist, specifically. There is a scene in the movie where one guy says to him, "You're not a scientist. You're just an accountant," and he acts like it's the worst thing that he's ever heard. Like this is like a huge insult to him. Brony Care Bear, thank you. You are my unofficial co-host for the show. You're helping me fill in all the words that I've forgotten, because speaking extemporaneously, as I've said before on the show, is something that I've been learning to do, not something I was born knowing how to do. But this movie is about a guy who goes up to a space station, and there are people up there who shouldn't be there, and I'm only in the first third. Again, the segment is called What I've Not Finished, and there's a lot of ambiguity about to what extent they're hallucinations versus to what extent they are sort of manifestations of the planet's will, and also the people seem to be people from the pasts of the scientists. So Uh, so basically, I just got to the part of the movie where his dead wife shows up, and we're going to see where it goes from there. I am going to try to finish the movie. I'm only 1/3. The reason I stopped at 1/3 mark is that you get about an hour in the movie, and they're like, oh, there's a title screen that goes Solaris Part 2. And that felt like a very natural place for me to pause. I will say that it is a very slow moving movie, like whatever the opposite of double time, I think halftime. Every shot's about twice as long as you might expect a shot to be, which is fine. I'm not here. I'm not the shot length police, and I also believe that that was much more the fashion. First of all, in the 70s, first of all, this is considered a iconic cerebral film where you kind of like you just chill out and reflect. So I totally get that it's a much slower movie. It's a movie that's trying to communicate these very large ideas about what it means to be human and like what it means to be alive in the present versus the past. I get it. I think not really, but I'm trying, so I get it. But it does feel like every second of the movie is 2 seconds, so it does feel like I watched a 2-hour movie, even though Solaris is a 3.5-hour movie, so I'm only a quarter way through. It is very slow. Abolish says, I thought of the world for the world as far as much as but because of the gravity, Kowski was told to make this movie to compete with 2001. It's part of the Cold War competition. That makes a lot of sense. I haven't seen 2001 probably since I was a child. I probably have not seen 2001 in its entirety or all in one sitting. I should go back to that at some point. But again, Solaris, very interesting movie. Definitely one of the landmark science fiction movies. Again, a third or a quarter of the way through. I will finish it, but until I do, it's on my what I've not finished this week segment. I'll also say that this movie is confusing because the main guy, if you look at him, he's like a middle-aged guy. He's got fault lines on his face and everything, but he also has, and I'm not joking, a perfect ass. So, as an American viewer in the year 2021, that is confusing. I feel like that is also another aspect of a new, different approach to filmmaking than the one I am used to. It does have a perfect ass. There are like shots of him just sort of walking around, just inspecting the space station, inspecting his quarters, and you're like, man, his pants are real tight. Let's see if I can get a good look at him. Let's see if we can get that ass shot. That's him sitting down, but imagine him turned. This is again from the front. Not enough good ass shots in this Google image search. So you just have to take my word for it. Very good butt on that guy. Russians may have nice asses. I believe kettlebells were developed by Russian weightlifters. To the extent that those do apply to their glutes, I'm willing to make a huge broad statement that all Russians have nice asses. That, in my experience, has been true. I don't think that's wrong. At the top second row. At the top the second row. Oh, there we go. So see, he's got a nice little bum. You can't quite make it entirely out, but you're sort of beginning to get the contours. Great eye, Abolish. Thank you. So that's part one of what I have not finished this week. The second thing I have not finished this week is Second Chance by Jay Northcote. Let me pull that up. So Second Chance by Jay Northcote is a book that I have been reading, or that I had started reading. It's a very plain kind of cover. It's kind of just a guy. If you've ever seen a book with just a guy on it, this is the cover for you. Basically, I'm really into romance novels. People who talk to me for anywhere between 1 minute and anything over that know that I'm a big romance novel person. I've been one since the summer. Since June of this year, I've probably listened to 40 romance novels, which I believe I am told to myself by myself that is a number of romance novels. So this one I was excited for. This one has it's a gay romance versus with between a cis male protagonist and a trans male protagonist. So I'm excited for that. The reason I have not finished it is because these characters are so normal. They're so normal. They're a little boring. I'll be honest, a little boring. They don't have a ton going on, and they don't really. So far in the first few hours, they haven't really distinguish themselves as characters that I'm super invested in. They're just they sort of act normal, they do normal things, they listen to normal things, and I haven't really. There's not a ton of spice there in terms of like hooks for my interest. So even though it's fine, it's a fine book so far. Nothing about it strikes me as bad. It's not badly written. I feel like I'm not connecting with the characters too much. I have not read Lathe of Heaven. I have seen people often reference Lathe of Heaven on the internet. It's a big book of Lathe of Heaven is a book that people often reference, so I should get to that. Let me get that into my stuff I'm anxious to check out. List Lathe of Heaven. My plan is to return to this every week. So if I don't check this shit out, this is just going to be a really big list, which in turn will seduce me. It will tempt me into actually doing what I said I would do, which is to check out everything on the list at some point. But anyway, Jane, Second Chance, Jane Northcote, I'm about halfway in. I don't know if I'll finish. I think I may try to finish once I'm done with the book I'm reading, just because I feel like it would be nice to finish. I feel like I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So we'll return to that, which I think leads very interestingly and very naturally into what I've been reading. So what I've been reading when I sort of put down Second Chance by Jane Northcote is I've been reading Alec by William DeCanzio. William DeCanzio, to my knowledge, has not written necessarily another novel. I believe he is primarily a playwright from the very cursory amount of Googling I've done. Yep, this is often the only title when you go on these book sites that he has written. But basically what Alec by William DeCanzio it is a sequel to the book Maurice by E.M. Forster. E.M. Forster was an author. You may have heard of like Room with a View. I believe Howard's End is also him. But he is sort of a great novelist of the Edwardian era. So the Edwardian era is sort of the early 20th century, really, I believe, most active then. Let me just wiki him to just make sure that's true, that I'm not pulling anybody's leg here. He does look bummed, and there's a reason he's bummed, which is that he was gay while it was still illegal. He was born in 1879. He died in 1970. He a cheer up little guy, and he wrote. I believe he was gay, but he was either closeted entirely or very, very private about it. But as you see on his Wikipedia page, his notable work section is quite prolific. He wrote novels, short stories, plays and pageants, film scripts, libretto, which I didn't even know he wrote libretto. He wrote, I guess, a libretto of Billy Budd, which I assume is based on the Melville short story. But yeah, so just an incredibly prolific man and gay. And his story, Maurice, is considered extremely ahead of its time because it's a gay story with a happy ending. It's a story about two students at Cambridge who fall in love. One decides to totally give up the idea of being gay, the idea of being in love, to pursue politics, while the other one decides to sort of say, fuck you to authority, fuck you to society, and eventually ends up with the undergroundskeeper from his former friend, former lover's estate. And that is Alec. That is Alex Scudder. And so someone who is not. So yeah, he did live. I think he lived. Abolish is making a great point that Ian Forster sort of lived the spectrum of legality. That he died by the time that homosexuality was legal, but obviously he spent a great deal of time where you could be sentenced to hard labor, which is often a threat or a plot point in a lot of these books that I read about gay relationships in the early 20th century. So yeah, when it was decriminalized but not destigmatized, exactly. So Alec is a sequel to a story of Mars. Its first third is basically the last third of Mars, but from the groundskeeper's perspective. So the groundskeeper's perspective, the first third of the book is him and Mars falling in love, which is the end of Mars. And then I'm about halfway through it right now. They have just sort of entered World War I, and Mars has just sort of had a very bad time in Gallipoli. And if you don't know where Gallipoli is, because I didn't really know where it was either, I believe it's in I don't want to say it. I don't want to be wrong. Gallipoli. You can find it on a map. Yeah, it's here. It's in sort of the Turkeys and the Dardanelles. I'm not really familiar with this combat theater of World War One, but he just had a horrible time in Gallipoli. I just got through that section of the book where Mars. Hello, and anonymous cheer. Hello. How are you doing? Thank you for the cheer. It looks like a ghost throwing around a diamond, which when I'm a ghost and if I have diamonds, that'll be what I do with them. I'll throw them around. So yeah, they just had the section where they're shitting, they're dying of thirst, very bad for them. No water, horrible winds, very sick, very bad, and now they have basically retreated from Gallipoli, and that's where I am in the book. So that's where I am. That's what I'm reading. Very good so far. My hope is that the lovers get back together. I think it will happen just because it feels like that kind of book. I feel like Ian Forster was very specific about Mars ending with a happy ending. So it feels like it wouldn't be cool for there to be a sequel where they both perish in the First World War. I think they'll get through it, but again, I'll let you know next week. I've been reading it, and I'm about halfway through. So that's what I've been reading. Now we're going to move on to, let's see, what else have I been talking about? What I've been watching. What I've been watching. I hope you guys are excited about what I've been watching. How are you all in the chat? I hope you guys are having a good time. This is a new show I'm doing. What I've been watching, The French Dispatch. I saw The French Dispatch this Saturday. I saw it in Assembly Row. I'm going to bring up some photos of it. I can talk while you look at photos of The French Dispatch. The French Dispatch feels like an anthology film from Wes Anderson. I like Wes Anderson's films for the most part. I am not a hater. I'm not even that ambivalent. I feel like they are always at least pretty good. The one Wes Anderson film that I did not enjoy when I was growing up was The Royal Tenenbaums, which I feel like is a strange one to dislike. I feel like that is often one of the more favorable films. I feel like that's often people's sort of go-to for a great film. I didn't care for it. That said, I like Moonrise Kingdom. I like what's the one where Jason Schwartzman falls in love with his teacher? Which one is that? I like that one. I really liked Life Aquatic. Life Aquatic is arguably my favorite. I had an amazing time watching Life Aquatic in the theater. Rushmore, thank you. I really loved Rushmore. So French Dispatch is sort of an anthology film. It's based on this idea that the film is basically telling through the art of film, the three main articles from the last edition of this dispatch, which is basically American writers in France creating a magazine that will be distributed in Kansas. I think that's how it works. And there's kind of three main stories. One of the stories is told. Actually, there are kind of four. There are four main stories. I forgot one. One is told by a writer played by Owen Wilson. One, I'm off my top of my head. You must forgive me if I stumble. The second one is a story told by a writer played by Tilda Swinton. The third is a story told by the writer played by Frances McDormand. And the fourth story is a story told by the writer played by Jeffrey Wright. So there's four stories there. And depending on who you are, what's interesting about the film is that I think a lot of people have been like, well, one of these stories was much stronger than the other stories, and that's what the film should have been about. You know, it should have focused on A or B or C or D. But I feel like, having read a couple of reviews, people don't necessarily agree about like what the strong story is. I really liked the Jeffrey Wright segment. Let me bring up the Jeffrey Wright. Let me bring up Jeffrey Wright in the French Dispatch. Great. So, in the French Dispatch, Jeffrey Wright is basically playing a character that's sort of clearly based on James Baldwin. What's interesting about him is I really like how his story is told. It is the framing device is that he's on a talk show, and they introduce him as having he's like a biblio. He has this sort of perfect memory, but only for the written word. So he is asked to sort of narrate verbatim what his last article for this magazine, which is then the story that we see on film. And that's a really fun framing device. The host of that show within a movie, the show within the movie, the article within the TV show within the movie. There's a lot of sort of framing devices in the movie. It's very watching it is often like watching the film version of The Nesting Doll, where one story sort of becomes a framing device for another story, becomes a framing device for another story. It's almost fractal in its storytelling, which is often either exhausting or exhilarating depending on where you are in the film and whether your blood sugar level is high or low. I would say keep a pretty high blood sugar level, and you'll probably have a somewhat better time. Jeffrey Wright plays James Baldwin-like character who tells a story of a kidnapped son of the commissaire, which I believe is sort of the sheriff or chief of police in the French town. They all sort of take place in this French town, which has this very funny name. I think it's like Ennui Bon Vivre or something. French Dispatch City. I'm going to look that up. There's a title card where it's just like ennui on blah, 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 and you're like, oh, that's a pun, and that's a pun. The other stories in the movie are regarding, in order, there's a bicycle tour, which Owen Wilson narrates. He's sort of using the idea of a bicycle tour as a way to tell the history of the city. The Four Rooms. I haven't seen The Four Rooms, unfortunately. Wes Anderson begins with the Owen Wilson's almost a framing device, a day in the city as on a bicycle, and also telling the history of the city while on the bicycle. Then you have Tilda Swinton's chapter where they tell the story of a man in prison for murder who is an avant-garde artist who falls in love with one of his guards, and they have a relationship, and that leads to a lot of interesting scenarios regarding him and his sort of sleazy art dealer played by Adrien Brody. I know, Adrien Brody playing a sleazy character. Can you believe it? My jaw almost fell off in shock. That was the second story. The third story regards Frances McDormand's character, who is present at a revolution by students in France. The main revolutionary student is played by Timothée Chalamet. Of course, it is a movie coming out in 2021, so of course it must at least feature briefly Timothée Chalamet. That's just the way the movies work right now. I will say that he is excellent in this film. I enjoyed him greatly, even more than in Dune, which I thought was fine / good. But he has a real charisma and a real sense of humor in this film, which I feel like the Dune film does not capture at all. He's quite funny and silly and strange in this film, and I like his contributions to this film very much. Yeah, my feelings about Dune is that it's fine / good. I feel like every time I read a criticism of the current Dune, I will be calling it the current Dune. Every time I read a criticism of it, I think, oh yes, I agree with that criticism. I had a fun time. I thought they did a good job condensing the material. I thought the pacing was fine. I think I agree with the fact that there could have been more of a sense of like grotesque. I feel like the Lynchian version was almost too grotesque, and I feel like the current version almost had not enough grotesquerie. So I feel like we are still waiting for the perfect version of Dune. We'll always be waiting for the perfect version of Dune, but this was fine as it went. Hopefully, maybe in the year 2050, we'll get the perfect version of Dune that perfectly balances the elements of storytelling and how gross can we make this. I have seen the Lynch version. I think that there's always a sense when you're watching the Lynch version, you're like, oh my God, we are half an hour into this movie. They have not gone to the desert planet yet. We are absolutely fucked. How do you tell all of the story in 2 hours? And the answer is, at least so far, you can't. So I was very happy with the fact that it ended where it did. I know some people feel cheated by the fact that it's a part one. I feel like, thank God it was a part one. I would have hated to see any more story crammed into those 2 hours or 2.5 hours. I forget exactly how long it was. So that's a few words about the French Dispatch. Very good. I did want it to be entirely Jeffrey Wright's movie, but I did feel like there was enough moments of genius, of sort of brilliance to merit a watch. I do feel like it is worth watching. I also have been watching today and last night Fargo Season 2. Thank you all for continuing to watch. I know I'm talking a storm up. Fargo Season 2, I liked very much. I will be absolutely honest with you all. I will be absolutely honest with you all. I have my laptop next to me. But Pfeiffer, I'll be honest, I do not know why you watch The Eternals. I think that's between you and your Christ. I did watch Fargo Season 2 yesterday and today. I'll be completely honest, I have about 20 minutes left of the last episode to go. I assume it's going to be falling action. I assume that there's no more, outrageous deaths to capture yet. Oh yeah, but Viper, I have seen the trailer. I have seen the commercial for Matt Damon for cryptocurrency. I just think that the crypto craze has just been another window into how celebrities are just inherently unlike us. They are very wealthy. I'm sure there's feeling a lot of pressure to, at some point, to some extent, buy into crypto. And that's what they will deal with when they get to heaven, and we can just let that sort of wash over us like, oh right, they're all very wealthy, this is sort of a fundamentally different theme park for them, in the sense that money is for them a theme park. Matt Damon is a funny little celebrity man, and it's just good to remember that. And if you ever get too mad with Matt Damon, it's just important to remember, and this is a perfect segue, that you can always stand for Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons, to my knowledge, has not been in any crypto commercials whatsoever. Has not sold out to the military or sold out to huge party interests. We will be disappointed in Jesse Plemons at some point for some reason, but not today and not for crypto. So Jesse Plemons is, of course, one of the stars of Fargo Season 2. Basically, the reason, and this is a really wonderful graphic because it has all of the many characters from this season. This is really wonderful. Jesse is such a nice young man. He's a great match with Kristen. Abolish. I agree with you. It's all pump and dump. I agree with you because that just seems to make the most sense to me. But we're going to put crypto aside, briefly stop thinking about that terrible thing, to just talk about the winning, charming, rewarding season of television that is Fargo Season 2. Again, I must emphasize that I have 20 minutes of the last episode left, so I cannot speak to it as a complete whole, but I am going to assume that I know enough from the 9.5 episodes I've watched. Basically, the reason I started Fargo Season 2, and you may be wondering out there in Twitchiverse, why, Rachel, are you watching Fargo Season 2 now? Also, have you even seen Fargo Season 1? Did you just skip to Season 2 like an animal? And the answer to that is I absolutely did skip straight to Season 2. I did not stop at Season 1. It's an anthology. I'm allowed. I'm an adult. This is what I've chosen. But the reason I got into Season 2 of Fargo, everyone's going to get real mad at me. I will go back to Season 1. I just want to see Season 2 because everyone said it was the best. And if I watch the best part of something, that will at least let me know, like, where the line is. Oh, I watched the best season and it's, like, fine, then I probably won't see the other seasons. If I watch the best season, I'm like, this is really good, then I'll watch maybe things that are slightly worse than really good. But I just needed to see where the line was. And so forgive me. I will be doing penance in my own fashion. I've heard. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to those I've upset in the chat. I did not mean to upset you or to make you feel bad. I will do something between now. Tell me in the comments how I can make you feel good, to make you live inside, and I'll try my best to do that. I think Chris Rock is Season 4. So basically, I'd never seen an episode of the TV show Fargo. I'd only seen the movie, which I liked very much. But basically, the reason I got into Fargo Season 2 specifically was that there was an article on Gawker, which was insane. And I'll just show you. We don't have to go through the article together. I'll just show you the title, because the title is called The Cursed Career of Kirsten Dunst, which is it's insane. It's an insane premise. And it's this insane premise. If you read it, I tried to read it, I skimmed it, and it's basically making the argument that because Kirsten Dunst has never won or been seriously considered for an Oscar, that somehow her career has been bad or cursed, which is obviously, let's see, going to Oscar. We're going to go to Oscar. My Control F is not working. There's talking about her dating Jake Gyllenhaal, which is who cares? Then we talk about basically, I think this is the crux. She says, where she consistently delivers performances that deserve awards recognition and receives almost none. Regarding the quality of Gawker, I've read some articles on Gawker, on the new Gawker, which I have enjoyed. I haven't enjoyed some of them. I thought there was a good article about how nobody knows what is cool anymore. There's an article like that, which I thought was pretty good. But basically, the whole crux of this article is like, because she's not winning Oscars left and right, therefore she's having some sort of cursed career. Obviously, if you think of it as you have a good career, if you're in good projects and you're enjoying and feeling fulfilled by the quality of your work and the quality of the product, then she's having almost an ideal career. I love Melancholia as well. Apparently she is really amazing in the new Jane Campion movie. I forget the name of it, but I will try to see it this winter. I'm not sure when it comes out. I believe it's The Power of the Dog. The Power of the Dog. When does that release? I'm unclear. If you do release, you don't really get it. So I'm not sure. I don't think there's necessarily an official release for this. But Power of the Dog, I've been reading, many who have seen it have said, oh, this is the best film of 2021. And I'm inclined to believe them just because of the people involved. Kirsten Dunst is very good at not starring in clunkers. The last film I've seen Kirsten Dunst is in Midnight Special. Midnight Special is a really cool film. I would say straight A- film. I do not know. I'm on Search Yahoo. I don't know why they're not finding results for. What am I don't know what's going on with my Google searches, but it's sort of like Midnight Special. We've never heard of it. I don't know what's going on. Midnight Special is really fun if you've never seen it. Midnight Special is a science fiction movie from about 2016 with your favorite Midnight Special actors. Let's get those actors up. We have Adam Driver's in it, and well as the main actor, who again, sometimes words fail me. Apparently you get more photos of him. Michael Shannon, sorry. Michael Shannon is obviously an actor's actor. He's really great. I believe he's in Kangaroo Jack, but he's also in Midnight Special, where he does a fantastic job. It's basically a story about a child who is sort of born in the next level of evolution / possibly an alien. I forget exactly how they nail down what's happening, but the whole vibe of the movie is just sort of like, sometimes you have kids and you just have to let them do shit, and you don't understand what they're doing and you don't understand how they're feeling. I haven't seen Take Shelter. I do need to watch that. I have seen Mud, but he's not in Mud. He's in Take Shelter. I think the filmmaker is the same. But I did enjoy Mud. So, what was I saying? Oh, right. Fargo Season 2. Kirsten Dunst. People were recommending Fargo Season 2 to me because I had made some sort of like offhand tweet about this kind of very silly Gawker article. They're like, if you like Kirsten Dunst, you need to see Fargo Season 2. This is some of her best work, and this is some of the best television that's been on television. So her basement is epic. So basically, the plot of Fargo Season 2, and I do not know how it relates to the other seasons, which I have not seen. I am told that they all are related to each other. They all have connections to each other. But the plot of Fargo Season 2 is that the brother from Succession, Kieran Culkin, let me just bring him up. He's in Fargo. And Kieran Culkin is in the first episode of Fargo Season 2, and he's sort of the linchpin for the entire plot that ends up occurring. Basically, he is a shit stain of a person. He's just a real fucking fail son, and he's the youngest brother of this sort of mod family who has been kind of running the dope trade in Minnesota apparently since the 50s or so forth. And he is sort of like, so he's a scion, but he's also a shit stain. And he gets caught up in this sort of scheme where he's going to somehow convince a judge to lay off this typewriter seller so that he has the funds necessary to purchase new electronic typewriters. It's just sort of a pie in the sky, sort of get rich quick scheme fantasy. And therefore, you end up with a scene where Kieran Culkin's character ends up shooting the judge and several other people and is, and I'm not joking here, distracted long enough by a UFO to stand in the middle of a road and get run over by the character played by Kirsten Dunst. The UFOs are very fun. The UFOs sort of just show up and they're just part of it. They're just like, what's going on? There's a UFO, but they're just there. So I really am very fond of the UFO. It's sort of not even a subplot because they just sort of show up sometimes. It's very funny. It's a funny thing to happen. So Kirsten Dunst in Fargo is, I'm not sure exactly how to even describe her deal in Fargo. She's sort of a fabulous. She's sort of a fantasist. She always, one of the characters describes her as a bit touched. She has sort of these very vibrant fantasies or hallucinations. She is a hoarder. She has hoarded what looked like about 3 million magazines, or thousands of magazines rather, just stacked in tall skyscraper piles in her basement, which is very important during a particular episode. It becomes an important plot point, which I appreciated. So she runs him over. She convinces her husband, who is sort of the local town assistant butcher, played by Jesse Plemons, to help her get rid of the body. This is before they discover that the man they've killed is an important figure in the mafia family that runs Minnesota's dope, the dope scene, and therefore they do not know until it's too late that they are going to be targets for various factions for the rest of the series. So everything sort of everything from this moment in the show sort of expands and multiplies in terms of danger, in terms of complication, in terms of death, in terms of suffering, in terms of humor. There's some very, very, very funny parts of this show. And it has all of your favorite actors. I did not know going into Fargo that Fargo, apparently, if season 2 is any indication, the Fargo series likes to cast every actor you like. So, who do you get for Fargo season 2? You get Kristen Milotti from I think it's Palm Springs. She plays the wife. She plays the wife of the police chief of this small town in Minnesota. She is a cancer patient, and that is like a very interesting dilemma she has about how she connects with him and his work and everything else that's happening. You also have Ted Danson. Ted Danson is also in Fargo season 2. He plays her father. You have Ted Danson playing Kristen Milotti's father, and the father-in-law to the police chief, who is played by Patrick Wilson. Patrick Wilson, if you like him, apparently he's a big good night, Abolish. Have a good rest of your night. Apparently Patrick Wilson is in the Conjuring series. I've never seen the Conjuring series. I've seen him in this and that. He is fantastic in Fargo. Other people who are in Fargo, the guy from Parks and Rec. Who's in Parks and Rec? This is a part of Nick Offerman, I believe his name is. Nick Offerman is in Fargo. I did not know Nick Offerman was in Fargo. He is still him, even though he does not have the mustache. He is clearly Nick Offerman, and what a delight to have him in another series. Other people in Fargo, I can keep going, and I will. Other people in Fargo, your favorite, my favorite, everyone's favorite, Bruce Campbell is in Fargo. Bruce Campbell's in Fargo. He plays Ronald Reagan. He's only in one episode, but what a presence that man makes. There is a bathroom scene where he's talking to the police chief. That is just one of my favorite scenes in a television show in a very long time. So he does a great job there. I could keep going. Other actors in Fargo, I believe. Oh, Jean Smart. Jean Smart is in Fargo. I have not seen Hacks yet. Apparently, she's in Hacks. But Jean Smart, what a treasure Jean Smart is. Jean Smart does an amazing job in Fargo. She plays the matriarch of the mafia family, the Reinhardts. She plays the Gerhardts rather. She plays the recently in command wife. Basically, what happens is that her husband becomes sort of unable to lead. He has a stroke, and she sort of takes power, but not without complications. There's a lot of complications in Fargo. You get used to it. You're like, feels like we're about to do another complication. Another complication happens, but in a really funny, surprising way. There are many other actors in Fargo. One more, which I'll just say, Jeffrey Donovan. Jeffrey Donovan. This is the last. I could spend my entire show just naming actors who are in the show Fargo. I could spend 90 minutes doing that. I won't, but I will just bring up one more actor in Fargo, Jeffrey Donovan. Jeffrey Donovan, I did not recognize Jeffrey Donovan, which once I recognized him, I felt pretty silly. The reason I felt pretty silly is because I had seen like a whole season of Burn Notice. In Burn Notice, he plays like the super sexy spy who's like been burned notice, so he like doesn't exist. And he's also in that show with Bruce Campbell. So that is another fun connection. In this show, he plays like the worst guy alive. One thing I really enjoy about shows about mobsters and about gangsters and about killers is how there are always going to be characters, even within that scenario, where you're like, man, fuck that guy. All of these other guys are hired killers, they're completely amoral, but at least I don't fucking hate them. This guy manages to be a character you hate, even within the moral bounds of the show. He is a misogynist. The way he treats his daughter is beyond the pale. The way he treats women in the show is beyond the pale. I don't want to say what happens to him, but I'm just going to say that, boy, do you hate the shit out of this guy by the time it's over. Like, look at his stupid little hat and his stupid little mug. Jeffrey Donovan does a really great job of playing a guy who's just sort of like, he's not smart, but he's very confident. He's like confident that he's smart, and he's confident that he's where he's supposed to be and that he should be in charge, despite the fact that nothing seems to indicate that otherwise. So he does a really great job in just the least likable role, again, in recent memory of watching television. Like, look at his face. You just want to just beat the shit out of him, and he's already tied up. Just look at his stupid little expression. I hate him so much just thinking about him. I also like the fact that he's like often in other properties he's in. I think he's often cast as like a heartthrob, and even though you get the sense that he's like vaguely, you get the sense that he's like handsome in the show, you are never ever attracted to him one iota. He's just the most loathsome person alive. I think Patrick Wilson also does a good job. That even though he's like an incredibly handsome guy, he's able to play it sort of as this very tertiary aspect about the character. Like, you spend most of the time thinking of him as almost like an everyman who's like slightly smarter than he needs to be, and like more moral than he needs to be. And only sometimes in passing are you like, oh right, yeah, he looks like a fucking movie star most of the time you're with him. And the fact that he can play an everyman, even though he's got that put him, I think is really a credit to his performing ability. Fargo season 2, highly recommended, very fun, on Hulu in its entirety. I'm excited to check out the other seasons, including the first season, so you guys will no longer feel like I'm killing you inside. Again, that was never my intention to have that happen. I would never want the people watching my show to feel like they are dying. That is the opposite impression than I want to have. Other things I've been watching, I think we all watched Sarah Squirm. Sarah Squirm was on SNL. Sorry, Sarah Sherman. I always call her Sarah Squirm because I think she's Sarah Squirm on Twitter. But she had this very funny desk segment on SNL this weekend that had everybody talking about the segment in the interim days. So if you've not caught it, if you've not caught Sarah Sherman on the SNL on her desk segment, definitely go check that out. It's very funny, if only because she spends the entirety of her segment just laying into Colin Jost in a way that feels viscerally very satisfying. If you've ever looked at Colin Jost and been like, nobody's taking him down enough pegs, I wished he would just be taken down every single peg. This is the desk segment that you want to see. Very funny. Love her mullet. Love her juice. Love her vibe. I don't know what's going on with my computer where it's like acting weird, and it's like being like, will I bring up the picture? I don't know. But definitely catch that if you feel like you want to laugh, because it is a good segment. So that is what I've been watching. That's been segment what I've been watching. Let's see what else have we got going on. I've already talked about Halleck by William DeCanzio. Other stuff to do. I've already created my to-do list, my checklist based on your own suggestions. Thank you very much. Just to go over my stupid writing corner, I can talk a little bit about the writing. Oh, what am I watching next? That's a great question. Brony Kerber, I probably will watch more. Fargo. I will also probably check out what I'm watching next. I'll probably watch more Fargo because I've been enjoying it. I also will probably check out the second season of Animaniacs. Animaniacs is a show that has been rebooted by Hulu. I watched their first rebooted season. I thought it was good. There was one episode or like one major segment that I had to skip because it was like this weird. So the politics of Animaniacs can feel kind of illegible, probably on purpose, where sometimes I feel like I'm vibing with it and sometimes I just feel like it's just not for me. There is like a big segment during one of the episodes of the first season of the reboot where they really lay into the Russia stuff. Like, it was almost like it's a Animaniacs version of like a Rachel Maddow episode where they go really into like, Putin and like, Russian disinformation. And I'm like, that's not my bag. I don't really give a shit. This is some shit lib shit. So I did not care for that. Things I did care for in the first season of the Animaniacs show is that they had a segment where Pinky and the Brain meet up with Edward Snowden, which I thought is just such a funny premise of First of all, it feels like a shitpost. Pinky and the Brain, Edward Snowden. Yeah, this is, first of all, I think of Edward Snowden as being very hot, and you may look at this picture of Edward Snowden from Animaniacs and being like, oh my god, he is such a grotesque. I'm here to tell you that this is as attractive as any human in the new Animaniacs gets. This is their version of hot. I think the premise of Pinky the Brain hanging out with Edward Snowden and being wrapped up in all that bullshit, I think that is like the funniest shit ever. I can't even tell you why I think it's so funny. I just think it feels like a shitpost. Like, it's like, you're like, what if they made new Animaniacs? Like, what are they gonna do? A segment where Pinky and the Brain like hang out with like, I don't know, Edward fucking Snowden? But then they just did it. They just fucking did it. They did the shitpost, and it's very funny. Yeah, so it has highs and lows. The new Animaniacs highs and lows. I think it has enough highs to warrant a watch of season 2. I'll try. No promises. I'll try to watch the season 2 before the next week. I'll try to watch all the episodes before next week, and then we can have an Animaniacs segment. You guys, are you excited to hear me ramble on? To some extent articulately and some extent not articulately about Pinky and the Brain, because I'm excited to do it. I will say one thing that really struck me about the new Animaniacs is that the animation is like way better than I was expecting or that it needs to be. Do any streaming services just play and not cut out? I don't know. I don't know about Hulu, about Animaniacs. Did I cut out? Did my show stop? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Yeah, I was just like, I can't sleep without sound, and they all stop in the middle of the night. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, the Pfeiffer. The one thing I'll say about, the Animaniacs is like, I didn't know what level of animation quality I was expecting, but it is like vastly better. Like, the execution was vastly better than I thought it would be going in. I like that they bring all the actors back. I like that it's still Maurice LaMarche. I think it's kind of cool to have Rob Paulsen back. It's just fun to hear them again. But that's maybe for next week. And so I'm excited for next week. We'll talk about Animaniacs next week. My stupid writing corner. I thought I'd do a quick check-in with you guys, if you don't mind. If you want to see my stupid little writing projects, I'm going to open some up that I've been working on. If I can do recent. And I will apologize. I did not get these in order. So there's just going to be some scrambles, some scrambling. Oh, so this was like last week's talking points. I'm going to see if I open this. I'm going to go to recent. So one thing is I've been working on more comedy writing. I worked on this on Monday. It's called I'm a Female Public Figure, and I'm trending for extremely flimsy reasons. So I just submitted this to McSweeney's. I don't know if it's good or not. It's one of those things where I'm like, I think it's fine. I'm going to submit to some places and see what happens. But basically, this was inspired by the event where Chris Pratt wrote a shitty Instagram post, and then everyone was talking about Anna Faris for like 4 days, and writing from the point of view of a female celebrity who is trending and would prefer not to be because the reason she's trending is that her ex wrote a bad post, and just asking people to trend her for reasons that make sense. So that's what that piece is about. So that's a piece I wrote earlier. Other pieces I've been writing on or working on let's see. I'm going to open some Untitled documents, see what's in them. That's my current document. Sorry, guys, this is going to be a little bit. Your ex sucks and may have thrown shade at your child. How you feeling? Exactly. So I did write in that mode. There's part of me that really wants to perfect the like humorous essay format. I'm like, I want to perfect this format. I want to become really good at comedic essay writing. I just think it's a good skill to have as a comedian. You know, you don't know one day someone might actually come to me to write an essay, as opposed to me writing the essays and sending them out. Someone might actually come up to me and be like, we would love to hear your thoughts about this thing in a comedic essay. That's the dream, really. This is another piece I'm working on. It's not done, as you can tell, but it's the Sleepy Time T-Bear Reports a Robbery. I've got sort of the opening to it, and it's not done, so I'll just read it to you real quick. On my dear officers, my possessions have been absconded with. I'm afraid the robbers did the crime, yawn, while I slumbered. And the idea is that I get to just name the cute things in the Sleepy Time T-Bear living room and talk about how his comfort level in his room actually makes him an ideal mark for a robbery. So basically talking about how comfortable he is. I've taken my customary chair beside the fire. With his help, I'm always able to reach dreamland. Perhaps the perpetrators knew this fact as they tiptoed around me, stuffing their pouches and pockets with our family's hard-earned trinkets and tokens. But I shall let anger wear me out. I will find myself taking a drowse in your constable station if I'm not careful. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the cozy bear, the cozy T-Bear. That's not it. The Celestial, I think it's the Celestial Seasonings T-Bear. Here's that guy. So I just look at this guy, and I'm just like, this guy would be by far of everybody who's on a box of tea, whoever's job it is to sell tea, this guy, I could really just really get into that place and just really shake up that joint and just steal all his valuables. His valuables look like they are maybe limited to the victuals, the pleasantly jewel-toned victuals on his mantelpiece above the fire. That said, in the scenario of this comedy piece, that would be enough for the thieves. So the thieves will be just ransacking the hell out of this place should I, and I am hoping I will, finish that piece. So that is one thing I'm working on, the Cozy Time T-Bear piece. The Sleepy Time T-Bear Reports a Robbery. Hard Times and Hard Drive by Pfeiffer are extremely good websites for satire writing. I like them very much. I read them. I retweet them all the time. I don't think that my particular interests line up with the interests of those sites. I think I would have a hard time writing for those sites, but I enjoy those sites immensely. Another thing I've been writing recently, I'm going to just bring this up for 1 second. I've been working on this short story. Before I get to this short story, I'll just get to, I think, Laura, yeah. So this short story, Silent Hill correspondent. I did have a Silent Hill podcast. One day I will return to that podcast. There is nothing I have started and haven't finished that I won't return to. That is the promise that I make myself. Everything is cyclical. Everything comes around, you guys. But these are just some funny ideas for articles that I probably won't end up finishing any of these. Yeah, the Acme Corporation is now selling NFTs. I thought that would be really funny. I'm not sure how to write it. A lot of times I have ideas for funny articles, and I'm not sure how to write them. So I'm like, oh, the Acme Corporation is like a famous cartoonish, is a corporation inside of a cartoon where the joke is that none of their shit works. And I'm like, that would be very funny. Obviously, they would get on the NFT craze, but I'm not sure how the rest of the article would look. This feels like halfway between an article and a tweet. In a diversity win, 70% of everyone around you is a weird little freak. That doesn't really feel like an entire article, nor does it feel like a really good tweet. It just sort of lies in the weird in-between. This one, I think I decided to not write it because it was too fucking dark, where the idea is that heaven assures people who are in heaven that unlike Astroworld, they have safety and security measures in place to prevent the crowd, the tragic events of Astroworld. So it's extremely dark. So that's probably why I won't write it. But it was an idea that occurred to me, and I do find that just writing the ideas down at least gives them some sort of outlet, if only in this kind of out of the way, out of the place Google Doc. The Sleepy Time Tea Bear, that one was the one that I decided to pursue for the moment. That's the one I decided to try to write out. It's always fun to like write these articles and then maybe like try a paragraph or two, see if I'm vibing with the idea, see if there's like enough there to continue on, and then if I do, then I can throw it into its own doc. Pfeiffer is like, what are you guys talking about? It seems like a perfectly benign, banal comedy piece to me. Yeah, and then I wrote the female public figure. That one I wrote the other day. Don't know if it's any good. I feel like the comedic marks, like the jokes in it, I'm not sure if I was really hitting them. I don't want to read them out loud because it's done, and therefore I don't know if showing it to you guys on the Twitch stream qualifies as it being published, but I don't want to take the chance of people being like, we don't want to publish it because we've already been published on your stream. I don't know, but I don't want to be an idiot. Another Celestial Seasonings character, that's actually a really funny idea to bring more of the universe into it. Let's see, the Celestial Seasoning mascots. I think there's like a wizard, and there might be a dragon. Seasonings mascots. So here you get a lot of bear stuff, Celestial Seasonings box. So yeah, so here I think take me to a new page. This one, these are all taking me to a new page. These are like 7 of the Celestial Seasonings miniatures. So here you get a lot of these I think are not very well known. I don't know why. It's funny the extent to which the bear has become an icon, just like a real Yas King, Sleepy King icon of the internet set, compared to some flowers, 2 white people picking berries, 2 other white people in a field, a woman, I think of color, on a very skinny waning moon, and then a sun who's just vibing. But yeah, to me, the bear is so much more famous than the other ones that it might be hard to incorporate the other ones, because I'm not like sure that people even like understand what jokes I'm making. Here you have 2 gingerbread characters who are kind of like frolicking. They seem to be on some sort of date, which I don't want to think too hard about. Here you see, this one's actually a really fun one. This is like so fun that I'm surprised I haven't seen this in a meme. This is a bear in some sort of rapid scenario. his kayak or his box boat is full of blueberries. The blueberries are also clogging the rapids. And he has a little life jacket on and a helmet, and also very dapper, a neckerchief in case he sweats on this adventure through the rapids. Very fun from this guy. Then we have the Candy Cane Lane guys. These are polar bears preparing their canes for, I'm sure, very G-rated reasons. You have really cute, I think it's the red fox or red bear. I think it's a red fox. Really cute guy. Here you just have a tiger hanging out. Here you have a skeleton with flowers. So it seems to me, doing a very brief cursory review of the Celestial boxes, that a lot of the boxes have really exciting art on them that just don't happen to be for whatever reason. Like this one's like, what if a wagon was just a giant fucking teacup? What if you just had 2 horses just driving around a giant teacup? Oh yeah, there is one guy. There's like one human man who is driving the horses, but it's all in service of this giant teacup, which to me that seems like a real OSHA violation. Because if that teacup spills and if it's hot, that man is dead. The horses are dead. They're all dead. I wouldn't trust that wagon. I would get out of its way really quickly. And here you have a lady and a dragon. And to me, that in itself does not raise eyebrows. What raises my eyebrows is the absolutely domesticated feel of the shot where the dragon is vibing and the woman is vibing, and they just look like they are bored and just sort of they're just chilling out. They look like they are watching a Netflix show that's just out of frame. Budweiser is not allowing their Clydesdales to transport tea. So a lot of fun Celestial covers. A lot of them arguably more fun than the Sleepytime Bear, as much as I enjoy him. But none of them that I think have reached this mimetic quality. This one I feel like is a huge candidate for a meme. I feel like that one should be related somehow. Yeah, the could be coffee related. I have to look up more coffee mascots. Yeah, I think coffee mascots tend to be much simpler. They tend to be like, what if a coffee was a man? And I feel like that's kind of where, or what if a coffee bean was a man? What if this element of coffee was a man? And I think that's kind of as far as a lot of coffee places go. I don't think they have generally the same level of imagination as the tea companies. I do like this guy. I do like the combination of what if coffee was man and what if coffee was man but cool man. The Dunkin' Donuts I think is just the letters. I should say that we are running out of time. I usually end at 10:30. We are sort of beginning to wrap up. I need to go to bed, by which I mean I need to stay up on this Red Bull. But more specifically, Matt, who is my tech, give it up for Matt in the chat. He is my tech, and he has to go to bed. I am not here to make him stay up late. That is the blood oath I signed when I started this show. Everyone give it up for Matt in the chat if you can give it up in the chat. If you can't give it up in the chat, then just think in your mind, go Matt. Woo! You can catch Matt if you like Matt. If you like the idea of Matt, if you haven't seen Matt yet, you can catch Matt. He is also the host of Hello Weekend, formerly Hello World, now Hello Weekend, every Friday morning, starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. He co-hosts a great morning show with Chloe Zwiker every Friday, almost every Friday. They have great guests. They have great segments. They are very fun and fun to be around. So definitely, if you are in the mood for a Twitch show at Friday morning, even if you feel like you're not in the mood, but you feel like you could get in the mood, then definitely check him out every Friday. Thank you, Anonymous Cheer. Woo! Another ghost playing with Jules. I love it. Other things to say today, this week, not much that I can think of. Oh, one final segment. Someone asked me to cover this on the show. I don't even know what covering it means, but we're going to cover it right now. The Reese's Pieces pie. Or the Reese, I think it's just the Reese pie. This is a new pie. It's just a giant fucking Reese's cup for Thanksgiving pie. It's sold out, but you can still get one according to the New York Post. Pausing in their extremely lurid articles about EMTs who are also on OnlyFans to tell us about this giant chocolate and peanut butter pie, which apparently is being sold for Thanksgiving. Apparently it's hard to get. It's sold out in many places, but if you've ever been eating a Reese's Pieces, not Reese's Pieces, sorry. Reese's Pieces are the M&Ms that aren't M&Ms. This is the Reese's pie, the Reese's cup turned pie. If you have ever thought while eating a Reese's cup, damn, Dear God, Jesus, and every angel in heaven, if only this experience were much bigger in all senses. Yeah, scalp that pie. You can have that for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I believe, is next week. So if you haven't gotten your Reese's pie yet, go get that right now. Begin the search. You can thank us later, according to this piece. On the Today Show, apparently the Today Show has already covered the giant satanic Reese's pie. It is a beautiful pie. I assume it tastes exactly like a Reese's cup, but a pie. I assume that's the deal. I think that if people eat this, I'm going to say it. If people take a bite of this pie and it's not exactly like a Reese's cup but big, then there will be riots in the street. There will be cars overturned. The government buildings will be on fire, and no man will be safe. It will be the purge on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, the purge. Pie did not taste like cup but big. That's what I'm calling right now. If you just buy a cheesecake in a case of peanut butter cups, not the same. Not the same. This is different. But Pfeiffer wants that purge real bad. Purge Pfeiffer, we like to call them. Anyways, that's been the show. Like to end on a fun note. Love to reference the purge as a final idea on the show, just leaving you with that fun chaos energy. My name is Rachel, and this has been the second episode of the second season of Honorable Mentions. Thank you for letting me talk to you for an hour and a half. This has been really fun. Guys, have a good night, good luck, and good posting.